Hello and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. Today we have Elsie here with us, and she's a realtor and also has another business that she started as well. So, Elsie, please introduce yourself and your journey to our audience.
Yes, hi everyone. Good day. My name is Elsie Sacaza and I am an Afro-Latina. I was born in New York and I was raised a couple of years in Honduras. So, as Tony just stated, I am an entrepreneur. I am a real estate agent and I also have a business with my mother where we sell natural juices, promoting wellness because it's so important to have your body right, your mind right. So, I'm so excited to be here and to have this conversation.
Great, yeah. So tell me, please, obviously we touched base a little bit before we started recording about how you actually decided to become an entrepreneur, to have your own business and stuff. So can you tell us a little bit more about that story?
Yeah, so I would say that I was working my 9 to 5 job and I wanted more. Like I didn't want to be stuck at a job all the time. And I always had the desire to invest in real estate and have my own properties. And at the time, my friend stated, why don't you just start off as a realtor, gain all the knowledge so like that you can have the tools that you need to become a successful investor. So I said, okay, that doesn't sound like a bad idea, right? To get my license and kind of learn everything about real estate. So like that, I can make the move when I'm ready. So that's literally how I started off entrepreneurship. And since I was younger, I've always had the desire to own my own things, to build something that creates generational wealth, to build my legacy. I did not think that I would be able to accomplish that working for someone else. Like I wanted to just have my own thing.
Exactly, yeah, and then obviously, so you're working for yourself. You're sort of running a couple of businesses and stuff. So what inspires you about what you do?
What inspires me is just knowing that I'm working towards something that would benefit other people. Even though I have my ups and downs, even though I might not have all the sales that I dream of right now, but I know that all the steps that I take every single day is going to lead me to make that impact, to make that legacy, to make the generational wealth for the generations that come behind me. So that's what pushes me. That's what drives me. And also my faith in God. Like I know that if God planted something in me, it's because he wants me to fulfill it. And it's not going to be easy. And it has not been easy whatsoever, right? But just having that drive. And I'm telling you, Tony, real estate has like stretched me in ways that I would have never been like, I wouldn't even like understand what I was getting to when I got into it. I thought everything was gonna be like, oh yes, it's good, and get the money and learn. But no matter how hard it gets, there's something in me that just keeps saying, keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. Even in the bad days, it teaches me. So I'm like, okay, Elsie, this is what happened. So how can you change, right? How can you improve the experience? Or maybe you need to stop doing this, or maybe you need to shorten this, or maybe you need to just focus on this for now and then pivot. So it just gives me an ability to always find ways on how I can improve, while also just trying to also not always, I would say, be so 100% on wanting everything to happen my way. I think my biggest challenge in the business that I've noticed is letting go. Um, Listening to my intuition and seeing the red flags. But because I want it so much for myself and for the people that I'm serving, I tend to just go overboard, and then at the end it doesn't even end up in fulfilling the goal, right? But when I look back, I'm like, you saw the signs, Elsie. You saw that, they weren't serious, or they weren't trusting your guidance, or they weren't doing what was advised. So learning, like I said, like real estate has stretched me, entrepreneurship has stretched me in ways that I would have never, ever thought it would. But I'm so, so thankful because it's teaching me patience, it's teaching me resilience, it's teaching me to heavily trust on God. And also it's teaching me to also know my worth, right? Because I think it's important to do business with people that trust you. Because at the end of the day, I went to school to get my license. I study this in and out. So if the people that come to me are not even trusting, then that means that we're not in alignment, and that's not going to work out in the long term because no matter what I say, you're not going to trust it. As the professional, you're not gonna even follow anything that I tell you. And my goal is for you to be successful. But if you're not trusting me, it's not gonna work out. So understanding that, and I've seen the difference too. When I work with clients that trust me and they understand like that I bring the data, the market, everything, things just flow versus when I'm with clients that don't, it's always like friction and then we don't end up in a sale.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that. I get that. But then also, choosing clients is something you mentioned as well. Intuition. Yeah. So when your intuition is telling you something, what happens in those moments? Do you listen to it, or you ignore it, or you just think, oh, maybe it's going to work out, or what happens?
Oh, Tony, that's been like the biggest challenge. And it's crazy because I've held my license for a couple of years now. And I would say until this year is when I'm starting to listen to it. And I've seen the shift. But years before this year, I didn't. I didn't listen. And when I started to listen to it, like I said, I feel the shift. I feel better with myself because when I was entertaining the people and ignoring my intuition and ignoring that feeling, I felt drained. I felt like I had to constantly prove myself. And it was just exhausting. And I would get like I would suffer from anxiety, just like But now that I'm listening to it, I feel at peace. I feel like whew, what's for me is for me, and what's not, then we're not meant to do business together. You're not for me, you're for someone else. But I've seen the shift, but literally, and it's so crazy because I've been in real estate for a couple of years, but I just started this year listening to it. And it's not always like the easiest thing because I don't like to let go. Like I'm very loyal, but I noticed the disservice that I was doing to myself and my business and my body and my mental health when I was not listening to that little voice that's telling me,
You're 100% right, and also it's really strange how things happen because in the beginning of my coaching career, because I've been coaching since 2011, so quite a few years and stuff. In the beginning, I worked with some really, really like sort of famous and successful clients and stuff. And sometimes when we stopped working, I would like really put myself down and cry sometimes. And,
yeah, yeah.
it is so hard to let go. And then when I look back, what happened was, first of all, I gained a huge experience working with some of these people. And then on top of that, I ended up working even with better clients or better sort of
Yes.
I've been and ended up in better situations which I could not have been in if I actually stayed and worked for them with them, for example. So that's really, sometimes in certain moments, we have to actually look into the situation and say, yeah, yeah, absolutely. But is this going to bother me in like 3 months' time, in 6 months' time? And if it's not, then why wasting energy on it now?
No, yeah, yeah, I agree because and I think it's a beauty of the journey, right? When we focus on what is teaching us, we learn, like you mentioned, like you were able to get something out of it. And then you it's like when we let go of what doesn't serve us, we open the opportunity and the door for what is for us. And it's always better, it's always bigger. And what we lost, it's nothing compared to what we gain, you know?
Exactly, exactly. But then also, you know, being entrepreneur, it's hard, yeah, because
Yes.
we actually work, we invest our energy, our time, we sort of focus on it, and we want to make it work. And then, you know, if it doesn't work, and if it doesn't work out, we just say, oh, you know, it's not worth it or something else. But then, as you said, you know, other bigger, better, stronger, more powerful, and more profitable things come our way, and but it's just going hard going through the process. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and staying like staying on top of it. Yeah,
Positive.
exactly, staying positive. So, and then intuition, another thing that happened to me, like you know, a few months ago, when and since then I've really started to listen to my intuition and started to focus. And this what happened. I was driving down the motorway, and there was like this roadworks. Yeah. So I
Hmm.
went into wrong lane and ended up like really, really far away from where I was supposed to be. Like I saw in my sat nav, it was saying I need extra 30 minutes to get there. And then I like speeded up a little bit, yeah.
Hmm.
And it was on the motorway, and I see all these other people like slowing down, slowing down, slowing down, yeah. And I'm thinking
Hmm.
maybe there is like a speed camera there, that's why they're slowing down. But I continue going, you know, and boom, I get a picture. So this is, and then I said, look, I wasn't listening to my intuition,
Mm.
so from now on, I just want to do that. Listen to my intuition. Yeah. Just listen to
Yes.
it. Yeah. And in some moments, and then I worked with some coaches as well that are sort of, that are really experienced in that, and ask them, how do you do it? How do you actually listen to the intuition? And they say, what you do, you sit down quietly and just listen for the direction, you know, for the
Mhm.
answers, for whatever it is. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
listen for a moment, because that's also something that we, a lot of times we don't do because we're so busy with everything. Yeah. So
No,
what's your
yeah.
situation like? How do you actually, for example, calm yourself down in everything?
So, like I mentioned before, I do believe highly on God. I think that He is the one ordering my steps 100%. I rely heavily on the Holy Spirit, which is what you mentioned, like your some people call it intuition. So I call it the Holy Spirit. I ask Him to guide me, you know, and I listen to it. And but Tony, this has been just this year that I started to listen. So what I do, I start off my mornings, I journal, I read my Bible, I pray, and I literally ask God to order my steps. And I when I journal, I'm also writing order my steps. Today would be a great day, and I'm expecting blessings. I'm expecting an overflow, and before I would just take it day by day, you know. And I think also what has shifted this year, it's my mindset, expecting that God is going to bless me and blow my mind, you know. Years back, I was doing all the work, and I would say I wasn't really expecting anything. I just thought that, hey, I'm gonna work, and it was draining. Now I'm actually feeling fulfillment from my job, you know, and I just it's a piece that I can't even explain it, because now I have more responsibilities. I'm doing a lot, but I feel good. I feel that everything that I'm doing has meaning, and it's going to take me to where God has ordained for me to go. So the way that I calm myself, the way that I ask for directions is literally spending time with God.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if people want to actually get in touch with you, learn more about you, Elsie, or learn more about your businesses, how they can do that?
Yeah, so I have you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on TikTok, and you can find me on Facebook. So on Instagram is Elsie Sacaza, and on Facebook it's also Elsie Sacaza, and on TikTok is Elsie, your favorite realtor.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, excellent. Yeah, anyone watching us, you can check out the link in the description of this episode. Also, if you have any questions for Elsie or me, you can ask them in the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer those. And Elsie, thank you so much for being a guest today and sharing your story, sharing your experience, your tips. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you again sometime in the future as well.
Right, thank you. Bye. It was so good to talk to you, Tony. This is great. Thank you so much for your time.
Same here.
Okay.